very fact that this event is being organized is indicative of the fact that something new is struggling to emerge on the left. We all remember how this debate started. In April 2025, there was an anti-immigration march of 10,000 people down O'Connell Street, which was counter-protested by about 200 left-wing activists. The class disparity was obvious. On one side stood our leftists, primarily composed of students and party activists. And on the other side stood members of the working class. The socialist left, led by the Trotskyite parties, People Before Profit and the Socialist Party, could think of nothing better to do than to shout Nazi scum off our streets at them. And alongside them stood the liberal left, doing the exact same thing. The liberal left, Labour, a party which implemented austerity. The Greens, a party which implemented austerity. Sinn Féin, a party which is currently implementing austerity up in the north. And the Social Democrats, a party which loves the European Union, which implemented austerity in the 2010s and forced it on all of our nations. This is like in the folktale. The emperor can walk around naked all he likes, but eventually someone will stand up from the crowd and declare that he has no clothes. We have lost the support of the working class, and we have resorted to moralistic finger-wagging against the very people who we are supposed to represent, side by side with liberals. I am addressing this speech to the socialist left. We in the socialist left are losing the support of the working class because we prioritize alliances with liberals over sustained class organizing. Working class communities have been fucked over by the liberal left countless of times. Why are we seen as standing with them? This is why working class anger is being captured by the right. We are no longer speaking with our class, we are speaking over them. Perhaps we are too moralizing in tone, too focused on purity. Perhaps we are too quick to judge dissent as the enemy. These anti-immigration protests express a deep dissatisfaction in the working class, which goes beyond the simplistic explanation that these people are just all racists. In fact, no reasonable person would be happy with how the state is handling migration and with the IPAS system. Not locals, not asylum seekers. The state comes in, takes away a hotel from a community, hands it over to a corporate landlord, who then profiteers from it. Asylum seekers are dumped into communities with little to no planning, putting strain on public services and putting the asylum seekers themselves into terrible conditions. The socialist left rushes to defend the IPAS system, but this defends neither asylum seekers nor the Irish working class. In fact, it defends the government. And when working class people ask People Before Profit and the Socialist Party about migration, all they can muster up is open borders, a wholly impractical idea which has never been implemented. And when in the Dáil a motion was raised to require community impact assessments for IPAS centres before they are put in an area, and these areas tend to be mostly working class areas, PBP and the Socialist Party voted with the government to shut down that motion. And why are they put in working class areas? Because when Dublin 4 objects, the government listens. So it seems that landlords are bad, except IPAS landlords. But this is not a fluke. Rather, it expresses a very shift in the social base, in the class basis of the socialist left. They pander to middle and upper class progressives. A far cry from the days of the water charges movement. They have been captured by the liberal mainstream. What better example of this than United Against Racism, a PBP front group literally designed to make it so that socialist groups can stand side by side with liberal parties and recruit from therein, therefore further shifting the class basis to upper and middle class progressives. It is in their interest to fight imaginary hordes of fascists, to brand all those 10,000 people as fascists, because that drives recruitment and that drives engagement with their anti-fascist fronts or whatever they have. Right? This is also the same reason why PBP and the Socialist Party advocate less and less for leaving the European Union, why they prefer to talk of taxing the rich in the Dáil rather than socialist revolution, why they oppose hate speech legislation only on paper but never in practice, that hate speech legislation would hurt the working class. Why they are opposed to nationalism, why they abandoned flying the tricolor and gave it all away to right-wing agitators by refusing to fly the tricolor, our national flag. Can we really be surprised then that members of the working class call these parties globalists or whatever other terms they use? In fact, perhaps not in word, but in deed, the revolutionary socialists, the socialist left, no longer believes in the primacy of the working class as agents of revolutionary change. They seek alliances with liberal progressives in the student movement, the anti-racism movement, the feminist movement, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they do so in a way that they don't connect it to class. They abandon class, and furthermore, they jump from issue to issue based on whatever is the most popular at the current moment, rather than consistently organizing in working class communities. I will now quote from an internal debate between the Socialist Party and Rosa and its former international organization, the Committee for a Workers' International, in 2019. In our view, a tendency has developed of some leading Irish comrades to see all struggles through the prism of the women's movement, rather than seeing how it interconnects with other struggles. In each of these movements, there are opportunist pressures to abandon class for identity. This leads to more recruitment from liberals and an electoral result from a liberal basis, but not from a working class basis, not from that stratum of society. The Socialist Party organizes protests against the abstract concept of the manosphere, but when is the last time that they talked about childcare and working mothers? The last time they did so was in 2023 in an article. We are now in a situation where the demands of the left are not being met on housing, healthcare, cost of living, and so on. We do not have leverage. We can no longer mobilize the working class. The socialist left is polling at 3%. We need a shift back to the primacy of class. Class struggle is at Coolock, at City West, at East Wall, in these communities. Lead them, or they will be led by right-wing agitators. And if you can no longer lead them, stand aside and let us lead. Let us lead by example in our communities in all the ways that the official left is failing to do so. Thank you.